In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to convert decimals to fractions. For that, we have to remember a few basics and then we'll move on. So you have to remember by heart that 0.1 equals 1 over 10, 1/10. And that 0.01 equals 1 over 100. And that 0.001 equals 1 over 1000. And it goes on and on and on. 0.0001 equals 1 over 10,000. But we won't get to that. These three are enough. So you have to remember them by heart and to know to convert from the left side to the right side and vice versa. And these will appear on the screen during most of this lesson. Now let's see an example. 0.7, we want to know how to write it as a simplified fraction. The 7 here appears as the first digit after the decimal point. That means that is the times we multiplied by 1/10. So in this case, we have 7 times 1/10, which is 7 over 10. So 0.7 is 7 over 10. Let's see another example. 0.4. That's 4 times 1/10. 4 times 1 over 10. However, in this case, both the 4 and the 10 are even numbers, so we can divide them by 2. If you perform the same action on the numerator and on the denominator, you do not change the value of the fraction. You just change the way it looks. You change its representation, but the value remains the same. And when your teachers ask you to convert a decimal to a fraction, they mean that you need to provide them with the simplified fraction. So if your teacher asks you how to convert 0.4, if you tell them 4 over 10, it's the right answer, but they may reduce points to you because this is not the simplified fraction. The simplified version is 2 over 5. Divided the 4 by 2 and the 10 by 2. This is the simplified version. This is what you are expected to provide when someone asks you to convert a decimal to a fraction. Although 2 over 5 equals 4 over 10, the simplified version is the one that you need, simplified fraction. So 0.4 is 2 over 5. Let's see some more examples. 0.23. Since we have 2 digits here, the first one is the times we multiplied by 1/10, and the second is the times that we multiplied by 1 over 100. So it's 2 over 10, that's for the first digit, and 3 over 100. That's 2 times 10 over 10 times 10. We multiplied this fraction here. We multiplied by 10 and divided it by 10. Again, if you perform the same action on the numerator and on the denominator, you don't change the value of the fraction. That applies to both multiplication and division. So we multiply them both by 10 and we didn't change the value of the fraction. The 3 over 100 stays the same. The reason that we multiplied it is that we want to get the same denominator, 100. So we have 20 over 100 plus 3 over 100, which is 23 over 100. You could have seen that immediately from here. 2 digits, that means just this number over 100, which is what we get. So if you see a decimal with 2 digits after the decimal point, you immediately know that it's the 2 digits over 100. And if you can simplify it, you must simplify it. In this case, you cannot simplify it because 23 is a prime number. You cannot divide it by anything aside from itself and 1. Let's see another example. 0.48. You already know now that it's 4 over 10 plus 8 over 100. Again, we multiply it by 10 and divide it by 10 and add. That's for the first fraction, and the second one stays the same. And we get 40 over 100 plus 8 over 100, which is 48 over 100. Again, we can do it directly. 48 over, just place the 2 digits over 100. However, we can simplify it, so we must simplify it. Let's divide the 48 by 4 and the 100 by 4, so we don't change the value of the fraction. If you perform the same action on the numerator and on the denominator, you get the same value, which is in this case 12 over 25. So 0.48 equals 12 over 25. And another example, this time with 3 digits. So it's 3 times 1 over 10, and 4 times 1 over 100, and 6 times 1 over 1,000. Or we can also say 346 over 1,000 immediately. This is what we'll get. And again, this is not the simplified version of it. Fix. So we'll divide the numerator and the denominator by 2 and get 173 over 500. This cannot be simplified further. So 0.346 equals 173 over 500. So 0.1 equals 1 over 10. 0.2 equals 2 over 10, which can be simplified to 1 over 5. We divide the 2 by 2 and the 10 by 2. We get 1 over 5. 0.3 is 3 over 10. 0.4 is 4 over 10, which can be simplified by dividing them both by 2, and we get 2 over 5. This is the simplified fraction of 0.4. 0.5, I hope you know it by now. It's 5 over 10, which is 1/2. 5 out of 10 is 1/2. And you get to it by dividing the 5 by 5 and the 10 by 5. 0.6 is 6 over 10. Simplifying it will lead us to 3 over 5. 0.7 is 7 over 10. 0.8 is 8 over 10, which can and should be simplified to 4 over 5 by dividing them both by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. 0.9 is 9 over 10. Very easy. Let's see some 2 digits. 0.11 equals 11 over 100. Just placing the 2 digits in the numerator, and the denominator is 100. 0.25 is 25 over 100. We can divide them both by 25 and you get a quarter, 1 over 4. This is the simplified fraction. 0.37 is 37 over 100. 37 is a prime number, so we cannot divide it. 0.44 equals 44 by 100. And if we divide them both by 4, you get 11 over 25. This is the simplified fraction of 0.44. 0.54 is 54 over 100. If we divide them both by 2, we get 27 over 50. This is the simplified fraction of 0.54. 0.65 is 65 over 100. If we divide them both by 5, we get 13 over 20. 0.71 equals 71 by 100. 71 is a prime number, so it cannot be divided by anything aside from 71 and 1, which doesn't help us here. So this is the simplified fraction. 0.84 is 84 over 100. If we divide them both by 4, we get 21 over 25. And 0.91 equals 91 by 100. 91 is not a prime number. It can be divided by both 7 and 13, but 100 cannot be divided by them. So this is the most simplified fraction of 0.91. Let's see some examples of 3 digits. 0.113 equals 113 over 1,000. So when you see 3 digits, you just put this number in the numerator, and the denominator is 1,000. And if you can simplify it, you must simplify it. In this case, you cannot. 0.225 is 225 over 1,000. And if we divide it by 25, you get 9 over 40. This is the simplified fraction. 0.367 is 367 over 1,000. Cannot be simplified in this case. 0.488 equals 488 over 1,000. And if we divide it by 8, we get 61 over 125. 0.544 is 544 over 1,000. Divide them both by 8 and you get 68 over 125. This is the simplified fraction of 0.544. 0.656 is 656 over 1,000. Divide them both by 8 and you get 82 over 125. 0.711 is 711 over 1,000. It cannot be simplified. 0.845 equals 845 over 1,000. Divided by 5, both of them, you get 169 over 200. 0.913 equals 913 over 1,000. Cannot be simplified. This is the simplified fraction. And that's it. I hope you like it. See you in the next lesson.